Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Wild and Wingless. Tonight I got myself the N97, Kyle Mock. He's been around the traps for a very, very long time, very accomplished racer. We'll get more into his other stuff he does on the side. But Kyle, welcome tonight. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I appreciate you taking time out from your busy schedule of being a wide open model these days, living in Milan. You got the nice wide open clothing line behind you there. Can you give us a bit of a brief rundown on your racing history, like where you started and how you ended up in Wingless and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, mate, for sure. It's a pretty, I wouldn't say a boring one, but it's pretty common in the New South Wales scene. A lot of people went through this route. I started in go-karts when I was actually a bit of a late starter. I started when I was 12. And then, did that for a few years, got my ass handed to me by Caden Brown and those sorts of guys for a year or two, and then finally got rolling there and, did that until I was 16 or so. And then, just before that, we purchased the Wingless, and, ever since then, been in the Wingless category. And, it's been, we didn't do any more go-karting after that, just pretty much sold up. And, went from there, just went into the Wingless category and been there ever since.
Yeah, right. Now, over the last few years, you've also dabbled a bit into sprint cars.
Yeah, quite unsuccessfully, I might add. No, we had a couple of promising runs. Don't get me wrong. I'm just really good at crashing, whether that be a wingless, go-kart, sprint car. I'm quite good at that. So, we've torn up a fair few cars pretty quickly, and like I said, had some promising results. We had a couple of really good nights at Eastern Creek there when we were in the dash and racing in the dash with good guys, and had some really good results. But racing isn't getting any cheaper, and 410s are the worst of that. Obviously, they're the pinnacle of our sport, and everyone wants to drive one, or everyone in the open wheel division anyway. And I had the privilege of driving one, and we're still going to have another crack at it for sure. But at the moment it's so expensive to go and run with those guys, and if you want to be competitive, you got to put new tires on every race, and you got to have a big motor really, and we didn't have that. We had a nice motor, but it was more so like a little bit of an older motor, a 270 with not as much power. Still woke me up. Don't get me wrong. Still pushed me back in the seat, but to go and race with those guys competitively, it's a lot of money and it's a lot of commitment, and like I said, we'll definitely have another crack, but for now, we're probably just looking at heading back into the wingless category for a bit.
Yep.
We really enjoy our wingless racing at the moment, and we'll go back to a bit of racing in there, and then possibly the end of this season get back into 410 and see what we can do there.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, I learned a bit about you just now, so this is one good thing about me doing this this sort of series thing is to speak to people. I mean, we say hello at the track and all the rest, but I have no idea about your background, how you came here. Now, I came across your father many years ago racing the Legend car. So he was racing Legend car. Obviously, I'm sort of working out maths there. You would have been a little bit too young at that stage, probably 15, 14 around there when he was racing that. Probably a good thing you didn't go there. Not that I'm not knocking anyone, but I think the wingless category would have maybe missed their opportunity to have a very talented driver like yourself. Because when you did break into wingless, like I do remember you coming through, like the Mock name stood out to me because obviously your father being in Legend cars, we were in Legend cars. But you're pretty quick off the mark. Like you're sort of always making your A's and that sort of stuff. I do remember you were, you had a big tear up there at Parramatta one day that just absolutely scared the hell out of a lot of people. Yeah, man, that cage worked for you that day. But I'm not saying that in a nasty way. I'm just like the fact you came back, and when you came back from that next show, like it was like it never phased you. You hopped back in that car and you went 100% again. I thought, man, this kid's got it. Like some kids have, some kids don't. You obviously do. All right. So when you jump from your go-karts to your wingless, how did you find the adaptation? I mean, I know I say I was impressed, but like, how did you find the adaptation?
I guess at the time in New South Wales, it's changed a lot now, but the only real pathway into Speedway at the time, if it wasn't country racing in junior sedans, it was go-karts, and that's what pretty much all of us came through. Like I spoke about earlier, Brownie and those sorts of guys, we all raced together and did the go-karts. Nowadays, you got the micros and all that sort of thing, the outlaw karts and things that they're doing nowadays, which is really cool. But it was definitely a totally different thing. I mean, you learn a lot of things in the go-kart that you probably subconsciously use and don't even put that back to learning it at go-karts, but you definitely learn a lot, whether that be go-karts, motorbikes. Racecraft is something that people talk about a lot, and definitely learn a lot through go-karts, but the step into wingless was totally different because obviously a go-kart, there's no suspension, right? It's just, you just slide and then you're on dirt, you slide and then there's no grip and all that sort of thing. And then you get in a wingless and all of a sudden you throw it into a corner, it's laying on the right rear and laying back on the left rear, and it's totally different. So I feel like I adapted sort of quick, but at the same time, like I said earlier, I was really good at crashing and I'm still really good at crashing. But I guess if you're not crashing, you're probably not having a crack. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't think, well, you had we'll get to that later, but whenever you've had them, they've always been because you're going 100%. Like, you've got everything on the line. It's not, I wouldn't call them stupid. Like, you see some people, they just put themselves in stupid situations, or maybe that's a bit harsh, but they put themselves in situations where they're not seeing what's happening ahead. You're being a pioneer when that stuff happens. Like, I think you're doing everything I don't know what sort of pressure your dad puts on you, but I know what I put on Tyson, and I'd assume you're doing everything he's asking you to do. Like, you're out there to win. So
yeah. I mean, a lot of those crashes, like you said, it's just racing. And that's the sport we play. It's open to a racing, and it's not hard to wreck one of these things. But I just at the start of my career probably was a little bit trigger happy and just doing stupid stuff like you spoke about, just putting my nose in places that they shouldn't be. But you got to learn where your wheels are somehow. And I just went through a few front ends, but that gave me a lot of awareness about where my wheels are, and I think that knocking front ends out didn't help my career, but at the same time, it definitely taught me a lot about the cars and where I fit on the track and all that sort of thing. So
no, okay. One race that stands out for me that you achieved was was that the first craft race at Parramatta, or Valvoline Raceway? I think it was the first craft 50 lapper we did. I could be wrong. As you know, me with dates are terrible, but it was like you and Tyson out the front. Now, question for you: did you know we were going to have a stoppage at whatever point?
Nah, so I remember. I can't remember where I started, but anyway, I think I got to second or third, maybe 15 laps in, and then, like you said, it was a 50 lapper, and I got the lead maybe on lap 15 or 20, and I'd never won a race. That was the first race I ever won.
That was your first one?
Yeah.
Really?
So it was a good one to win.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, a bit of a prestigious race and one I'll remember for a long time. But, got to the lead and, it was it was really cool. I mean, got to the lead and I think we got to lap 41 or something like that, and we had a yellow, and I think it might have been curfew that was the issue. And, I remember rolling around and they were talking about it over the two-way that, I think it might have been the stoppage previous. They said if we have another stoppage, we may have to cut it. And I remember rolling around and I was almost hoping they did cut it because I'd never won a race. And, I mean, it's not the ideal way to win your first race.
No, you got to take it.
I led lap 41 and that was the one that mattered. So,
yep.
Got that win, and like I said, it was a huge achievement for me and Dad. It was a massive night, and that was the year we really started to get rolling. I think it might have been my third season, but got that win at Parramatta, and now that Parramatta's gone, it's even more of an achievement, I think. But that night was really special, and to win it at that Peter Craft, which I'm pretty sure there was only two of so far. The 50 lapper and then the Goulburn 86 lapper.
No, we also have one more at Eastern Creek, but yes.
Was there? Yeah, sorry, yeah. But to win the first one of that, and that was my first race win. Like I said, it was really cool.
Yeah. Now I've got a question for you. Did your dad make it out to the podium?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys got a good photo there?
Yeah. It's
awesome.
It was really, really cool. Like I said, I remember actually doing I guess you'd call it the cage dance or whatever, and had the flag and whatever else, and they got a really cool photo of that. And then I remember sort of getting down from the car and looking over, and his dad just running over the top of the cushion sort of thing, and heading out. And it was a really cool moment because like before that we struggled a lot. Took me and Dad, because it's just me and him, right? It's just me and him that work on that car, and it took us a good couple of years to get rolling. we got rolling quick, but at the same time, it took us a long time to get to the front.
Yep.
We got maybe halfway up the field quick, but it took us a little bit to get with them front guys. And when we finally did it and had our breakthrough win, obviously, I think it's a bit of an emotional time for anyone that has their first win. But to do it at a 50 lapper, that there were some really good cars. That was really cool. So.
Yeah, and it was a great event for a great man too. So hats off you for winning that one. I'd love to see that photo. If you guys got a photo on the podium, that'd be awesome to see.
Yeah.
I can remember because Tyson led that one for a bit, and I think we knocked a radiator out early on, and when they did that stoppage, that ended our run. That just heat sunk and no more from there. But I do remember seeing your dad jumping. Like I can still remember that. So that was cool. All right. So tell me about the what would have been the New South Wales title at Valvoline as well. You've had some good races at Valvoline actually now coming to think of it. Like, yeah, you got some wins there towards the end, and now that it's obviously gone, it's a good thing to have. But that what was it, 2019 New South Wales title at Valvoline?
Yeah.
You would have been battling with, was it Chadwick?
Yeah. So right in the middle of his reign.
Yeah.
He was, I don't know if he was the Aussie champ at the time. I think he was. I can't remember. But,
I think so, yeah.
Either way, it was, like I said, that year that we had our first win was sort of our breakout season. And that was part of that season. We had that win. And then I think it might have been a race or two later was a New South Wales title at Parramatta. And we had guys like Luke Storer, Daniel Storer.
That's right, yes.
All those guys were racing. And I had a really good race with Chadwick. To be completely honest, neither of us were going to win that race. Luke Storer was gone. He was out of there.
Yep.
But I was racing really hard with Chadwick. We were throwing sliders. It was a really nice track, slick to a curve. And we had a really good race. And I was set to run third. And I remember just coming down the back straight after we got the white. And Luke Storer was just parked on the outside of turn 2. So he was straight in front, and then he just stopped. And I think he had a radius rod come off or something, and just ended his run. So it was unfortunate for him, but Chadwick ended up winning that, obviously, after Luke pulled off, and I ran second. And it was a really cool podium for us. Like I said, we got that win, and it was a win, but it wasn't like a convincing win or anything like that, And then to be able to go and run with those guys at a state title level, it sort of cemented that we might be okay at this. We might be able to run with these guys.
I think if people saw your dominant run that you had in that 50 lapper, because it wasn't just you ran 50 laps. Like I remember standing there, like we're out, and heartbroken, and all the rest. But dude, that car was fast.
Yeah.
Like man, that thing in that 50 lapper, and I think even before then, you always had speed. It was just putting everything together, and sometimes it can take people years, but as you can tell, like that 2018/19 season sort of deal, man, you found something there, and you just started rolling, and you've been rolling well ever since. We then moved to, when did you go over to was it the 2020 Australian title over in WA?
Yeah.
Right. So hang on, I got to stop you there. So I had a good chat with Troy Carey, right? And he told me all about the fun times. He took. Oh, I'll let you tell me, but yeah, tell me more about. I want to hear about how you guys got over there. Give me the whole week, all right? So.
Yeah, so I remember it all coming together we went down to the Victorian SummerSlam that year, so that was the 2020 season, and Troy was down there racing, and same thing I think it was before the Warrnambool night, we all went to the Flying Horse pub and had lunch and whatever else, like we always do, and we're sitting there talking about the upcoming Australian title, which was Kalgoorlie, and Troy said he was going. We never had the intention to go because obviously it's a long way, and main reason that a lot of the New South Wales guys didn't go, it's 4,000 kilometres or whatever it is, and it's a big commitment. But Troy pretty much said, well, I'm going. If you want to go, let's hook a trailer on the back of my truck, give me your tow money, and fly in. And me and Dad sort of looked at each other and went, what's the worst that happens? We go over there and have a run and go to a different track and experience a different track and race some good cars. So we took that opportunity, and I'm forever thankful to Troy for that opportunity. Obviously, I wouldn't have won that race without him. And it was. I heard you speak to a couple of guys, and they said they had fairy tale weekends. That was our fairy tale weekend for sure. Everything just went right. We got over there, and we absolutely sucked in practice. Let me tell you that. I think there was 38 cars there, and we were 35th. We were terrible. And I don't know why, but we just didn't stress. We were like, oh, we'll roll out tomorrow and see what we got. And we got a totally different track. It was very hooky and fast, which I seemed to get around okay most of the time. And yeah, we heat raced really well and put ourselves on the front row for the prelim night with Luke Storer again. He was on pole, and me and him have had some really good battles over the years. And
Right.
I love racing them boys.
Was both Storers there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So
Okay. Wow.
Luke put it on pole for the prelim. I think Daniel might have been maybe third row, fourth or fifth, maybe.
Yep.
You had guys like don't get me wrong, the car count wasn't 80 cars like we got at Murray Bridge, but there was still some very solid cars there. And the Storer boys, Luke Wheel was there.
Yeah, right.
Mitchell Broom. There was a lot of good cars there, right? And we hadn't even seen the track, so. But yeah, we had a really good race in that prelim race and finished second in that, and just put ourselves in a good spot for that feature, and just had a really good car in the feature that me and Dad just had to swing at and hope for the best. It was either I wouldn't turn it or we'd win. It was one of the two. So the car was really nice and come on late, which obviously we set up for, and I threw that slider at Luke with one eye shut. I know that.
Really?
It wasn't a dirty slider or anything, but I come from a long way back and had a run, and it was either it comes off or
make or break.
I didn't want to tear him up, but it was for an Aussie title. It was on. So raced him clean, got by him, and then I remember we had a red with 5 to go, and I was leading, but it was actually bizarre. Blake Walsh was at the fence. He I think he didn't make it into the show, and he was there, and he's telling me to calm down, and I'm banging the steering wheel, carrying on.
Really?
And I probably did need to calm down, but I remember just thinking to myself, like, don't look at the lap board and just run 5 wide open laps and just put it down and see what you got. And we were good enough to win, and that weekend something I'll never forget. It was like I said, a fairy tale, and it was the perfect weekend.
Yeah, I remember seeing the photos come through on social media, and there's that, I'll call it an iconic shot in Wingless now. Yourself, I believe you're on the main straight, you've got the trophy, your car's there, and wow, when I saw that, I thought, like, you're kidding me, like, this is awesome. We got a New South Wales guy, just won an Australian title in WA, like, awesome, man, well done. Now, what happened after that win? Like, when I say what happened after that win, I'm talking the next, say, 12, 24 hours after that win. Tell me about that side of things.
As you know, we enjoy a party now.
Yes.
When we win an Australian title, that goes through the roof. So it was actually, it was really cool. We finished up and did all the scrutineering and all that sort of thing, and had a beer and whatever else. And then I remember a guy that worked for the track or was a volunteer for the track came down to the pits and pretty much just yelled at everyone and said, everyone up to the, whatever they call it, up there where the clubhouse sort of thing is.
Yep.
He's like, everyone come up here, free drinks all night. And I was just like, what? And next minute, every single person that was in the pits was up there. And I think it might have been drivers only got a free drink or whatever it was. But either way, Kalgoorlie put on a night that probably not a night to remember, probably a night not to remember, because we drank plenty and had a lot of fun. But got some really good memories from that. And we did another presentation up at their clubhouse, and we partied into the night. And then Dad and I were supposed to fly out. I say supposed to fly out the next morning at I think it might have been 10 o'clock or something, and we woke up in our hotel room at about 11.
Wow.
Woke up, and I remember Dad looking at me and going like, "Where's our car?" We did. We had a big night, and we weren't even upset that we'd missed the flight. We were like, "Oh well, we won an Australian title. If there's any excuse, that's it." So, like I said, it was a very memorable weekend and one I'll remember for a long time.
Yeah, no, when I heard that story, I had to ask, sorry, say that again. And the poor person had to tell me like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah. I'm thinking, no, here they are. The mocks just want to have a quiet beverage, light beverage, one each, that's it. And then they get their arm twisted, dragged up there, and they didn't want to do it. They went kicking and screaming. So then after that, where did you guys go? Because Troy Carey loaded up the car. Like that's a pretty cool thing. Like Troy was pretty proud about
Oh,
that, and he
awesome.
sort of was cool about it. And he drove your car. He went straight to Murray Bridge, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then so you guys flew. Obviously got a delayed flight, but flew into what, Adelaide, I guess.
No. So I believe there was a week between the two races.
Oh, sorry.
So
Right. Okay. I've jumped the gun.
Pretty sure I flew home, went to work for a week, and then flew back down to Adelaide. So, so Troy left Kalgoorlie and went straight to Murray Bridge, and we flew home for a week, and then flew to Murray Bridge and did the 60 lapper, which was, talk about series. That was the final round of that first series that they did, which was that Super Series or whatever they called it.
Yep.
The 10,000 to win show. That was that night.
Yep.
And we run that the following night. The following week, and we weren't too bad there. I can't even remember where we finished. Might have been mid-pack. We weren't fantastic, but didn't bother us, to be honest, because
now did you have the number one on, or did you? Because I know the number one was sort of on your nose, but it wasn't. It was like they put it on. You know, I mean, quickly done.
Bit of a funny story that they slapped on the ones over the 97 when we were on the track still, and obviously I flew home, Dad flew home, and then the car was just at Murray Bridge, and we were like, well, we're not going to be able to get it stickered because we don't even know anyone in Murray Bridge apart from some blokes we race, and we just thought, we rolled down there, we're like, oh well, we'll just leave it. And just ran the one, slapped over the 97. I still actually got that nose cone.
Oh, do you really?
Got that nose cone in the shed, So
that's awesome.
Of a monument. So, but then after that, we brought the car home and cleaned all the red dirt off it from WA, and and got it stickered up proper with the Oz one. But that was something. There's some pretty cool photos of that where it's over the one. I copped a bit of flack for that actually that week. But it was like,
nah, it's bullshit, man. Like, I think so many people, I've realised that this sport's really good. You got so many people who are really like excited when you do well, but unfortunately they sort of, for whatever reason, they don't let their let it be known. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you would have had any idea I was cheering for you until I come out and tell you. You know what I mean? Like, whereas there's people out there who do cheer for people, but we don't say it. Yet it's like the naysayers are the ones that always come out and say stuff. Nah, I have to admit, when I saw that car like that, and then later on found out that car went straight from there to Murray Bridge, I'm like, please leave it that way. Like, that would have looked awesome. You know, like, hey, you're not bursting my bubble. Yeah, right. Okay, that's pretty cool. One thing I've noticed with your car, like your first, well, when I say first, the car you won with, you've got it was like a rusty. You're too young to remember this, but your orange you have is like a VT, which we would have known a VT, like burnt orange sort of deal. Where'd you get that orange from?
Well, that was legitimately the colour. Now, it was such a great idea at the time. We've always sort of had orange, and we were like, we had fluoro, we had this. We were like, oh, we'll change it up and we'll go a different orange. And we went something like that. And don't get me wrong, it was the ugliest car I've ever put on the track. You know, it might look good on a Commodore, but it didn't look good as a race car, but it was fast enough. I wish it did look good, but
that thing was fast. Yeah, nice. No, I remember seeing, I thought, all right, maybe Brad's involved in that, because he's too young to remember that colour for sure. But I thought, okay, that's pretty cool colour. Actually, you said something too about putting the nose up. With you know, if you go to like sprint car drivers, race shops and stuff, you see like their wings, or if you go to the Dumpsons, you see the tail tanks all around, and it looks incredible, looks awesome. And I remember I was sitting there one night at our race shop there, and one of my mates was talking to me. He goes, "Oh, what are you gonna? Is there anything you hang up?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, there's nothing of them. Like, maybe you could put an arm guard." It wasn't until I had a chat with Gary Fitzpatrick, and he showed me what they've got in LFA shop, and they got the noses up. I thought, oh, sweet, I'm going to start retiring some noses. And so, unfortunately, Tyson this week is hanging up some noses for me. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Well, I don't have a number one, but I'm with you on that one, man. That's a good idea. All right, so you missed your flight. You still went to the 60 lapper. You did all right there. You didn't care. You're still on cloud nine. That's cool. What did you feel about racing with Alex? Alex Bright.
Oh, Alex Bright.
Sorry, pardon me. Alex Bright, do you have much of a run with him, or?
He was really good, obviously. That's his job. But Yeah, I remember him coming past me. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, we weren't good in that race. I think we tightened up way too much. I think we thought it was Kalgoorlie again, and let's just tighten it up and we'll win.
Yep.
But we tightened up way too much, and it was rough. And anyway, I remember just not being great. And Alex went past me, and I thought, he's going good here, and that might have been for maybe 8th or 10th or whatever it was. And I just sort of watched him for a little bit, and then he was out of sight.
Wow.
But by the time I'd lost sight of him, he was already 3rd or 4th, and that was with 15 to go. So I thought whoever's leading's going to have a bit on soon when you got a USAC driver coming.
Insane.
I remember him coming past, and everyone was hitting a certain rut, because it was a very rough track that night, and everyone had hit a rut the same or quite similar, and he somehow, obviously just with his throttle control or the way he drives the car, he just managed to get through it. And I guess that's just what happens when you do it for a job. You got a lot of laps, and you know how to maneuver around certain track difficulties. So yeah, he was extremely good that night, and I guess that's why he gets paid to do it.
Yeah, well, that's true. He walked away with big bucks that night.
Yeah.
So in 2020 at Murray Bridge, weren't that good. Fast forward a couple of years, we go back there for the Australian title. Actually, during COVID, that meant you kept that one on your car longer. Like, that would have been pretty cool to have.
Yeah. Well, I was the 3-time Australian champion and only won it once. So.
Was that how long it was?
Yeah.
It would have been too. Yeah. All right, cool.
I was one for 3 years and only ever won it once, but it was cool. I mean, we kept it on after Kalgoorlie because there was no Australian title in 21 because of COVID, and then 22 rolled around and Murray Bridge was on, and obviously being the defending champion, we were like, sweet, let's go down there and have a crack. And it was really good track. Murray Bridge is an awesome race track for wingless. I think it's got to be right up there. We rolled down there, and very similar to Kalgoorlie, we were just very quick out of the blocks. I mean, we quick timed in our first practice, and then I put it in the fence in the second practice, and we had to rebuild it.
You don't like making life easy for your dad, do you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Jeez.
I think we went to the Calcutta and just sort of went, we'll worry about it in the morning, and sort of showed back up to the track and put it all back together, and then had an awesome prelim night. Everything just sort of all just came together again, and ran 3rd on our prelim night. Ryland won, like he spoke to you about in his interview, and Daniel Storer was 2nd. They were both obviously awesome, and then I guess we got a bit of luck on the second night with bad luck for Ryland, good luck for us. He had what went wrong in his heat race, and as much as you don't want to see that happen to someone, it helped us for sure. So we jumped him in the points because of that. And Daniel Storer I think he was half a point behind us going into the prelim. So we were scheduled to start on pole again, which was really cool after, like I said, winning in Kalgoorlie and having some people say, oh, you had to go to WA to get it sort of thing and all that sort of thing. And
do people really say that?
Yeah.
Okay, like, you got to look at it. Like, you still had the Storers there. You still had, like, Broome there. You still had... man.
It is what it is, but to go to Murray Bridge the next year and put it on pole, sort of, I guess, said, it wasn't a fluke.
Proved it.
So it was a massive shame we didn't get to run that race. I was really looking forward to it. Murray Bridge was producing fantastic racing that weekend, and it always does for wingless. And Daniel was really good that weekend. I would have had to be extremely good to beat him, but I would have loved to have the opportunity to beat him. So
absolutely.
Anything could have happened. It would have been a great 40 laps. I know that. The track was set up perfectly. It was going to be on the fence. It was going to be cool no matter what. But it's a shame we didn't get a run at it. But I guess it is what it is. That's another track following you.
That's a double-edged sword because you have finally we get like promotional stuff, and I feel our division we need that promotional stuff. And unfortunately, that night it bit us because we were busy doing the driver intros and stuff, and then the rain came. I think the highlight for me for that weekend, I wasn't there, but just from what I watched and saw, was the foot race at the Calcutta. How did you fare? How did you fare in your foot race? How did you go in that bad boy?
I think I missed the start dramatically. I think Brad McCarthy jumped the start.
Brad, you're getting called out.
I don't think anyone was going to catch that long-legged bloke anyway.
He was
but,
gone. I can't believe. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I thought, man, he's going to the Olympics.
I think he had that one sewn up.
Yeah.
But,
what a stitch
I
up.
think me and Daniel Storer might have got caught talking in the corner over there, and all of a sudden the full race was over, and we're like, oh, we better go.
I thought maybe you're just getting your electrolytes in and having another beer.
No,
but yeah,
it's
fair
something
enough.
funny though. Yeah, something different. When they did that, we were at a racetrack. Just different for the drivers.
Yeah.
Different little thing. Yeah, it's always good when they change it up.
One thing I like is I've spoken to some drivers, obviously young, old, all the rest in between, and it's good. Just the I don't know, like the vibe everyone had from it, the feedback everyone had was quite good. Like,
yeah,
but Brad McCarthy came from nowhere. Anyway, good on him. He did well. All right, so let's talk. So after you raced at Murray Bridge, I mean, I'm not saying you haven't done anything since then. Like, you've been very dominant in New South Wales. You've been dominant everywhere you go. What was your next Australian title? That would have been Archerfield?
Yeah, Archerfield. So we went up there, I guess you could still say defending the title, maybe.
Yeah.
We still had the one.
You still had the one.
I'm going to say we were. But previous to that, and I was talking to John about this the other day. I'm not sure why, but for some reason I wasn't going to go. I have no idea why. We might have been starting in sprint cars or something.
Oh, sorry. Sorry for everyone else. So this is the season a deal was struck between Kyle Mock and John Egan. And John Egan went to a 2-car. I've spoken to him about it, but that way you can sort of...
So, previous to that Australian title, for some reason we weren't going to go. I think it might have been due to us starting in the sprint cars. But anyway, we had the wingless there. It was ready to go. We just had it on the shelf. And for some reason, Dad and I decided we weren't going to go to Brisbane. But anyway, we, like John spoke about with you, we were down at Eastern Creek watching the midget title at the time, and started to speak to John a little bit, which, like he said, we hadn't spoken a whole lot before. We'd said hello and all that sort of thing, but never really got into much conversation about anything else. And had a couple of beers with him up in a corporate box, actually, which they had for that race meeting, and spoke to him and Paul, and we had a really good chat. Just not about anything in particular, just sort of chatting like mates, and we've become really good mates with the Egans since, and got chatting that night, and we were speaking about that title and other things, and something come up about a race. It might have been the next week or something that John couldn't race, and Paul was trying to put someone in the car at Canberra. And that's when was the first run I had for John Egan Racing. I actually got in John's car. It wasn't the car that I raced for them, but I got in John's 47 car and went down and raced at Canberra while he was, I think he might have been at a Bucks party or a wedding or something, and we went down and ran that for them, which was my first race back in the wingless in a while, and we were lucky enough to go down and get the win.
Spanked them. I remember that night. Absolutely destroyed everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Tyson ran second, didn't he?
Yeah. We could not catch you. Couldn't catch you. Yep.
So that was sort of the start of I guess ours and the Egans relationship, and we had an awesome time down there at Canberra, and Paul was over the moon, and so was John. I remember getting a phone call from him pretty much after the feature, and he was doing whatever he was doing at a Bucks party or whatever he was, and he's yelling and screaming, how good's this, blah blah blah, and that was a really cool night. And then from there, we spoke to John about. We didn't really bring anything up, but he said, we've got this other car here if you want to race it, and they sort of put it to the side. They bought some new Triple X's and built some new nice cars, and sort of had that sitting there. And Dad and I thought, we had a ball racing with those guys. Why don't if they're happy to put me in a car, we may as well go and have a steer for them. And we did that. And I think my next race for them was Eastern Creek in the white car, in White Lightning as we used to call it.
I don't like that. Used to call it, yes.
Yeah. Before it tragically passed away, but. We went to Eastern Creek in that car, and we were really good, and then had a tyre come off, and
so that was that night, was it?
Yeah, that was our first night in that car for them.
Man, that was in the feature.
Yeah. You
had checked out. So this was like almost 2 weeks in a row, whatever it was, like back to back for you. Both nights in their cars, you were just gone. And I remember sitting back watching that, and I remember someone saying to me, "Man, I've never seen Egan drive so fast." I thought, "Oh, I don't think that's Egan, eh?" Like, I said, "I think that's Kyle Mock." Anyway, I pulled out the phone, I'm having a look, I'm like, "Man, have a look at his lap times." Like,
Yeah.
jeez, like they were just so fast. And then, like, what, 2, 3 laps later, he just came into
Yeah.
turn one, and everything was fine coming in. And then, like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Well, it's a bit of a funny story. It's the only time I've ever done double duty.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the sprint car that night, and I was also obviously in the wingless, and we were having dramas on the sprint car with the right front tyre. It was slowly going down.
Right.
So, and we were in the dash that night in the sprint car. So, we were like, "Oh, where's the priority? Let's just swap them." And we threw the sprint car. We threw the wingless right front, which was good on the sprint car for the dash. I went out, run the dash, come straight back in, got straight in the wingless. And I remember Luke Sale was crewing for me that night because he wasn't racing. And he comes up and he goes, "What are we going to do about this tyre?" And I'm like, "I don't know, put 15 pound in it and hopefully it holds." And like we didn't have many other options. I had no time. I was already late to the grid, all that sort of thing. And he just blew it up and we hope for the best. And it's honestly the fastest I've ever been in any wingless, I think, that night.
Man, that was flat to the floor.
I don't know if it was to do with getting out of the sprint car or what. The car was beautiful, and actually Luke set it up. I'd never give him the credit for it, but
oh, there you go, Luke. Good on your job. Good job.
Yeah, he set it up, and the car was a bullet, and we were really fast. And then obviously that right front had a small leak, and it was a bit of a berm there that night. And I remember coming in and sort of ploughing into it in turn one the lap before, and I sort of thought, "Oh, don't do that next lap." And what did I do? Come in and did exactly the same thing, and off it went. So that was a bit of a bummer, but we knew we had a lot of speed in that car after that because, like you said, we had checked out a little bit in that feature race, and I think from there we went straight to Brisbane. So we'd only ever had one race in that car before Brisbane. But like I said, we've had with the time that we've raced for John and Paul, we've had so many great results. And if we haven't had great results, we've either DNF'd or the driver's stuffed up. So
been a great run. Yeah, you're right. I mean, just that flip was so violent, man. How did you feel after that? Like, were you okay or?
Yeah, I was more disappointed than anything. It's the most. I've had a lot of crashes like I spoke about earlier, but that was the most violent on the body. I don't know why. I think just the way it just went so quick. But I didn't actually know what happened until I saw the replay. But had that roll and obviously just got out. I was fine physically. I was sore the next day, but I was just gutted because we had such a strong car at that time of the race, and sort of hit me once I got out of the car that damn, we might have had a chance there, and it's gone begging. But it is what it is, mate. We move on and try and use it as motivation for next year, I guess.
Well, you definitely use that because then you rolled on to Archfield, and tell us about your Archfield Australian title reign, or what you would have been your as you said, your title fight.
Yeah,
you still had it.
So that Archfield title was 2023.
Oh, have I jumped one? Have I?
Yeah. So Archfield came first, and then Lismore was just the one that's just gone. So, we were in. Sorry, you're talking about Archfield. So Archfield, we had a decent run. We weren't fantastic. Same thing. I think we started on the third row for the feature, which was pretty good. We were quite confident that we could have shaken it up from there. And I've put a lot of bad cars on the track, but that was right up there.
Really?
We just totally missed it. I mean, we thought that we might have been able to get around the top. And we'd been there previously and had a lot of success up on the cushion, but that was without sprint cars. So when they put the sprint cars out before the feature, we'd sort of already committed, and I rolled out and looked there, and it was about a 3-foot curve and nothing below it, and I thought this is going to be fun. But didn't have many other options. Rolled around, we were sort of losing a bit of ground on the bottom, and I just thought what's the worst that happens? Let's get up and have a crack. And wasn't really going anywhere. Lost a bit of ground. I think we finished outside the top 10, but nearly killed myself about 5 times up there. But it wasn't our best Australian title. I was pretty gutted because I sort of wanted to give Paul and John a good result at that title for the opportunity that they'd given me, and to put ourselves in a position to do that and then just totally miss it was a bit upsetting and a little bit of a deflating end to the weekend. But it is what it is, and we moved on from there and then went to Lismore. Which is the one just gone. So,
well, before we go there, we'll go back to 23, 24. So the Dubbo New South Wales state title we just had.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, no, we're going to go back to Archerfield because something big happened in Archerfield that I think has set off this East Coast swarm thing, and you've got one on your head now. So we've spoken to John Egan. He's told us the ins and outs, but you were there on that. I don't know what you want to call it. That night of revolution where it all happened. Caxton Hat Racing became a thing. You're one of the founding members. You've got your hat proudly. But I actually see you've got a shirt too in the background there. Yep, there we go. Caxton Hat Racing. Yep. What does it say? It's a lifestyle. It is. Oh, there we go. We dropped the phone. I always push too hard with these guys, and all right. You good? Yep. There we go. Anyone want to buy some shirts to support the boys? Definitely do it. So the Caxton Hat, you guys started that.
I might. Sorry, mate. Sorry, there was just something coming up on the screen.
Oh.
So, that was Brisbane, like you said. The practice night got rained out, I remember. And then what did we do? We thought, it's rained out. We've got a day off tomorrow. Let's go and have a few beers. So myself, John, Jolly, pretty much all our old mans and everyone else involved in the teams we all thought, we're in Brisbane. Where's the place to go in Brisbane? Let's go to the Caxton Hotel. And we went up there and had dinner and a few beers. And I remember it vividly. We were sitting outside, and I watched John go to the bar and get some beers. And he came back, and he just had this yellow hat. He had this fluffy yellow hat on. And I looked at him and just went, "What are you doing? What is that?" And we'd all had a couple of beers by then, and I said, "I want one of them," and so did Jolly, and so did Flano, who's part of our team, and all that sort of thing. So all of a sudden, there's 4 of us at the bar buying these hats, and then we spent the night at Brisbane and went out and partied and did whatever we did, and sort of became a joke the next day about, this is the new crew, this is the new race team, blah blah blah, and we wore them that whole weekend through the pits, through everything. It just became a bit of a laughing thing, and pushed. One thing leads to the other, and next thing we've got our own hats, and next thing we've got our own shirts, and there's a Facebook page. By the way, hit it up.
Yes, hit it up. Yes.
I'll
tag it into this episode for them. Yes.
Yeah, I'll get our media man to fire up a discount code.
There we go. Discount. Look at that. This is really happening. This is really happening. I started the trend with everyone wearing the wide open hats.
Yeah. And
everyone started wearing them. And then I have to admit, when I logged on to speak to Jacob, who told me about the hats too, I noticed he was wearing a wide open one. He goes, I was wearing it because you mentioned. I thought, okay,
yeah,
cool.
Well, and then, I probably need to call them two out.
Because then, on top of that, John was wearing a lockdown hat, I think it was, and that threw me for a 6.
I know it wasn't a yellow hat.
No, it wasn't yellow and it wasn't wide open. I thought, here we go. Yeah. And then I thought, all right, when I speak to Mike, what's he going to be wearing? And I had it was good. But no, so that's what happened. Then I wasn't there for that whole weekend, but I heard all about it, and I started seeing the photos getting around Facebook, and I thought it was pretty cool because at the end of the day, man, we're not out there making paychecks. You know what I mean? We're out there having fun. We're living our lives. We're making memories.
Yeah.
And just we all have the same. We all enjoy racing. Like it amazes me how much the pit area sometimes can be so segmented, like
so divided. Yeah.
Yeah, but we all love the same thing. Like like as I said, we haven't said much to each other. Like I've said hello and all the rest of you guys, but never really sat down and had many beers with you guys. But at the end of the day, there's so many things we've got in common, and it's just like I'm finding by doing this show, you're speaking to all these people, and you think, man, we're all the same. We're all the same.
Yeah.
So
exactly right.
then when you guys brought all we called you guys the yellow hatters because no one knew what CHR meant then. I used to
Yeah,
sit there and try and work it out, and I'm trying to think, oh, I don't know, maybe they've gone a bit, how you going, like we went with the Chinese. Oops, I've lost him for a second. There
Sorry,
we
mate.
go, he's back. Yeah, so I wasn't sure what it meant, but we went to the Dubbo race, so New South Wales State title, 23-24, and mate, wow, it was just, we pulled into our spot, and we looked across, there's the yellow hatters right there, and I thought, here we go, it's going to be on, and yeah, I'll let you tell me about your state title weekend. So how did you go in that one?
Absolutely shithouse.
Oh, come on. No, you're just telling us one story. Come on. You were actually, mate, you were there.
It was the New South Wales title night. So it was a two-night deal. Obviously, the first night was the title, and the title was with the first heat. I think we had 2 cars spin out in front of us and knocked the front end out. The second heat, I think I got into the car in front of me and spun out, got my front end knocked out.
Yep.
And then we come from last in the B and missed the transfer. So I think I was first reserve, and yeah, that, it was just one of those nights, and everyone has them. It just, nothing went our way, and it was just one of them nights, and we just everything that could go wrong did go wrong. But it was good to, even though we weren't in the race, it was good to be on the infield and cheer on a Caxton Hat member and try and get him over the line, which he did.
Yes.
In style.
Man, how cool was that? That was 3 in a row at 3 different tracks.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, Jolly's the man to beat at the moment, right? He's a 3-time New South Wales champion. He's the Australian champion. He goes anywhere he's good, right? He won his first one at Eastern Creek.
Yep.
Which he'd never been to.
Nope.
And then he went back to his home track in Lismore.
Yep.
Which everyone thought he was going to win, and he went bang and did. And then Dubbo, which it was sort of a wild card for a lot of us because a lot of us hadn't been there. Had guys like Blake Walsh, who was on fire, and Jolly and guys like that. And yeah, Blake and Jolly went at it really hard in that race. And
yes,
the cream always rises, and yeah, Jolly just he drove extremely well in that race. And I remember giving him the whip down the back straight with 2 to go, come on, sort of thing. And, yeah, it was really good to see him win, and that's probably the reason that, or one of the reasons that we had a bit of a yahoo that night and partied on. But that weekend itself was awesome. Like I said, we didn't have a good New South Wales title personally, but we were able to come out the next night and win. So it was a bit of a, I guess, didn't have a good start to the weekend, but finished it off on a high note. So, right. And we were able to go 1-2 that night as well.
Yeah.
The following night. So.
Yeah, and that was very good. All right, so night 2, what happened there was a bit of a jump around at the start. But yeah, tell us about night 2.
Yeah, well, night 2 was really good to us. We come out in our first heat, and it was a totally different track than the night before. I think they just kept a lot of water out of it. And, it was quite a slick track, and it was really good, really racy. It took rubber in the end, but the heat races were fantastic. I mean, our first heat, we started maybe 3rd or something and finished 2nd behind Batesy. And then our second heat was probably the most fun I've had in a wingless in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, my heat race that I was in, I got the perfect heat race. I mean, the heat after me, it started to take rubber, and the heat before, it was too fast on the bottom. So, but yeah, my heat, it was slick top to bottom, no rubber, and a little bit of fluff up on the top. And I come from 10, and I got up there and passed a few cars on the top, and I was really comfortable upstairs, and I hit the wall like 2 or 3 times down the back straight.
Yeah, right.
And I remember going into turn 3 once, and it sort of just rolled over a little bit, and I was like, oh well, it's still all right. We're still on all fours, and I actually ended up winning that heat.
Yeah. What, from 10?
Which was really cool. From 10, yeah. So
Jeez.
we were really good in that heat. Really good on the top, and had a really nice car, and yeah, won that heat and come in, and we were sort of like high-fiving and whatnot. We're like, that was really cool. And pretty much me and Dad just looked at each other and said, oh, we'll just wait and see what the track does. We thought they might have ripped it or whatever. And whilst I might have been putting tear offs on my helmet or whatever I was doing, I think it was Luke. rolled into the trailer and goes, "Hey, you know your chassis's broken?" And I went, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you didn't bend the ladder, you just knocked the ladder mount off." So,
Oh wow.
yeah, I'd hit the wall a good 3 or 4 times, and obviously that
Yeah.
one time down the back straight at late on the right rear was when the ladder was out of it. So I
Jeez.
ran half the heat race with no ladder, but was still able to hold on to it, thank God. But
Yeah.
we did a little bit of backyard welding
I
and
saw
got it
that.
back together with a bit of plate and a stick welder, and it was enough to hang on for the feature. And then what happened in the feature was something that's probably never going to happen again. It was one of them starts where everyone was sort of banging wheels before the green, and I still don't know to this day
Were
what
you out
happened.
of
But
fourth?
I was out of 5.
5.
So
So you're on the inside, right? Third row
yeah,
back.
so they
Okay.
inverted 6.
Yep.
They inverted 6. Blake Walsh was outside me, and Batesy was on the pole. John was out of 2, and Jolly was out of 3. So
That's right, Jolly out 3. Yeah.
I think Batesy and John got together, and then Jolly got in there, and whatever happened. Batesy went over, and that was his night over.
Yep.
Then elevated me to 3rd, Jolly to 1st,
And Jolly
and
had
then
problems.
Jolly had damage from Bates's tangle, and he went into turn 1 and looped it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I missed him, so I went from 5th to 1st without even doing a lap. So I sort of got a bit of luck of the Irish there, but started on pole next to John, and by that time, Dad and I went and set up for the top again because we're out of 5. There's good cars in front of us. We're not going to pass them on the bottom.
Yep.
But then when I was on pole, I'm sort of like, I know there's rubber there. Do I just try and hold the bottom? And yeah, so went into turn 1 and just sort of held the bottom and felt a little bit of rubber, and I thought, why get off it?
Yeah.
I mean, if I can hold the bottom, I think we tightened up that much to the point I couldn't even hold the bottom. But I was just using that much brake, which was why I really wasn't the fastest car at all that night. I mean, I had John breathing down my neck the whole race. Blake Walsh was right behind him. I was pretty much holding the field up because I was so tight. I just couldn't hold in the rubber. But you talk about go-karts and what that teaches you. I pretty much just went back to that and thought, if you're good enough, go around me.
Yeah, that's it.
I just held the bottom, and I thought, I'm not going to let you get under me. If you're good enough, you'll drive around me. And I was quick enough to hold him off. And like I said, I could hear him the whole time. He was, you just hear him there. And I was like, he's going to want to beat me so badly here. I thought my tyre was going, but I had a little bit left in it than what I thought I did, and it was enough to hang on and get the win. And it was cool to have John run second as well. Obviously, 1-2 for the team was cool. And like I said, we weren't the quickest car, but we were quick enough, and we got the luck that night. We didn't get the luck the night before, so I guess it came back and gave us a little bit back.
Yeah, it was good to get that, see both cars there too. I thought it was really good, and hats off to not only yourself, your dad, your family, your team, and as well as John Egan, Paul Egan, and the Egan family. It was just a perfect night for you guys. I think that captured off the weekend, which also meant we got we'll very lucky to receive a Caxton hat or Yellow Hatters party afterwards, which was great. I think the whole pit loved that. A lot of people talk about your parties, and I have to admit, man, like they're the life. So I'm glad you guys did well because it was a good atmosphere that night. That whole weekend actually, Dubbo was great. Like with the Shane Sheedy, his crew, you guys, like we even had Ray Wallace, the car owner of Blake there, come up and mingle with us and stuff like that. It was great. I thought it was great. So hats off to you guys. Thank you for bringing the party. That was good.
Oh, wow.
So we go from that weekend, we head over to Lismore for the Australian title this year.
Yeah.
Now, you've been there before, haven't you?
Yeah, so I'd done a bit of racing at Lismore. I mean, when I first started in Wingless, probably only 6 or 12 months later, we actually moved to the Gold Coast. Moved to the Gold Coast for a short stint. It was a bit of a lifestyle change for my parents, and obviously I was only young at the time, so
they didn't like it.
Went to school.
They went, no.
No, obviously not. Obviously not, because we were back in 6 months' time, and
nice.
So whilst I was up there and living up there, our home track was pretty much Lismore, either Lismore or Archfield at the time, and we didn't do a whole lot of racing there. We might have only done 4 or 5 shows at Lismore, but did a bit of racing there, and that was in my rookie season. We raced there, so did that, and then once we moved back to Sydney, we didn't go back there until I think it might have been the original Chile Nationals was the next time I was there, which was 5 years later. So yeah, we've done a bit of racing a long time ago, but apart from that, yeah, our first race back was sort of the Chile Nationals, and then we did the Australian title. So you probably only count 2 or 3 of them races as times we were there, but we've done a little bit there.
Yeah, right. Okay, so rolling into the Australian title, at Lismore, how was your weekend? How did it fare for you? Or what did you experience for that weekend?
It was really good. It was obviously a really good weekend. We really did not do a lot of racing before that. I think that season we only did, before the Australian title, we probably only did 4 races, I think.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We did, I think 1 at Goulburn, which was the one Tyson won.
Yeah, was that the one you were leading and break down? Yep. So you've always been at the front. It's just unfortunate. Yeah.
We just got So that was our first run back that year, and then we went down to Victoria to do Simpson and Avalon 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
We've just got this thing. Dad and I have always had this thing that an Australian title's coming up. Where's the fastest car in the country? Let's go and race it and see what we got.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
And we've done that ever since I won the Australian title. So Blake Walsh was the quickest car in the country at the time, right?
Yep.
And we thought, let's go down and race him and race guys like Chris Temby and Todd Hobson and those sorts of guys that they're going to be at the Australian title.
Yep.
They're the quickest guys in the country at the moment, probably excluding Jacob Jolly and Scotty Thompson. Let's go and race these guys and see what we've got at their tracks, and then see if we need to be better for Lismore. So went and did that, and raced Simpson. Come from the B, I think, and ran 4th or 5th. So that was a really cool night. And then ran 3rd at Avalon to Blake. Blake won. But yeah, sort of built a bit of a schedule into that because we knew we weren't going to do a whole lot of racing. Did Goulburn, them 2 races, and then Dubbo.
Yep.
And that was it before the Australian title, and then rolled into Lismore, and we were confident. You know, we had some speed down at Victoria, and we knew a few things that we could be better on the car. So we did those things before going to Lismore, and they were really quick straight off the bat. I mean, we were really good in our first. We got some good draws. Don't get me wrong. We started on the front of our first heat and won it, and then I think I can't remember what we did in our second heat, but we moved forward to maybe the top 2, and then maybe to the top 3, the second one. So put us in a really good spot for the prelim, and did good there. Ran 3rd, and then it was a good weekend. Don't get me wrong. And then obviously rolled into the last night. Started on the outside front row with Jolly, and sort of, I hate to say it, but it gave me a little bit of deja vu at Kalgoorlie. You know, Jolly was the man to beat all weekend, like Luke Storer was, and I'm thinking, we're out of second. Can we do it again? You start to think about what could be, and just thought we'd get out there and have a crack and see what happens. And really weren't that great early. Sort of faded a little bit early, and I didn't stress too much because we were either going to come good or we were just not going to be good. It's not the end of the world. It is what it is. And just struggled a little bit early in those first 10. Dropped back to Luke Wheeler got me on the start. I was 3rd, and then Travis got me put me back to 4th about maybe 6 or 8 laps in, and 40 lap feature. I just thought, let's just log some laps here and see what we've got after that. And I think we got to maybe lap 20, 25, and I didn't really change anything. The car just started to get easier to drive, and I was hitting a bit of the track that a lot of other cars weren't, and started to catch Travis.
Yep.
And it wasn't Travis at the time. He'd gotten by Wheelie. Started to catch Wheelie, and Wheelie was going away. You could tell he was too free, and I was quite tight, so I was getting better, and took a few laps to get by Wheelie, got Wheelie, and then Travis was probably half a straight in front of me at the time, and we were starting to get into traffic, and I caught Travis in like 2 laps.
Wow.
The car was really starting to move by then, and I think that was at about the 12 or 13 to go, and got close to Travis a couple of times and just sort of didn't get the run. And then we got to Bailey Goodwin as a lap car, and Bailey sort of gave us room. He saw Travis and gave us room, and Travis drifted up a bit, and I got a massive run off 4, and stuck right to the berm and got under him pretty clean, and then what happened from there. Sort of, I mean, at the time I didn't know what happened. I just sort of went airborne and had no idea, because by that time he's already out of my vision, you know. Yeah, to me, I passed him, and just had a big lick. And obviously at that point I was more disappointed than anything, because I could see Jacob by then. Jacob he had no lap cars between himself and Travis, and he had about 3 or 4 in front of him, so he was going to start to have a bit on at that point, and I had clean track if I cleared Travis there. So what could have been, right? I mean, you can sit here and cry about what happened and what could have been, or you can just use it as motivation for next year, and just try and, as much as it still stings, and it'll sting for a while, because I think we might have had a shot, but you just got to use it as a bit of motivation for next year, and try again, because even if we didn't win, it would have been cool to run second to Jolly.
Absolutely, 100%.
So it's a shame that it got taken away from us with something out of our hands, but you know, it is what it is. That's racing. That's the game we play, and we'll just move on.
I remember sitting there in the stands when that happened, and I was, you know, the way the track's laid out, for some reason I was sort of watching your battle when it happened, and just when that car just started rolling, I was just like, God no, like, we were sort of everyone was a bit worried about it, but you bounced out all right, and it was good to see you get out and walk. How was the body after that one?
Yeah, it was, like I said, I've had a lot of big crashes, but that one, it probably wasn't my biggest, but it was my most violent crash. It happened so quick. It just, I remember my ribs the next day were really sore. I was okay. I was physically fine, just a bit battered and bruised, you know. And like I said, I think I was a little bit more probably worried. I was a bit more upset than I was injured. I was I was gutted, because Australian title shots don't come around.
100%. I mean, and what we saw from you after that, my hat goes off to you, man. Like, I saw a true sportsman there. You accepted what happened. I mean, you didn't pick up a wheel, throw it at anyone or anything like that. And I commend you for that, man. Like, I sort of sit back and, like, as much as we haven't had a lot to do with each other, I've seen you sort of grow up over the years at the track there, coming in, and like, you've definitely sort of molded to a very fast, but you're also very mature. You're smart, you know what I mean? You don't make silly mistakes. So yeah, hats off to you, man. I commend you for what you did, and it was a shame to see you end like that. But I mean, that's the end of the Lismore Australian title.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to ask you this for a while. I don't know what answer I'm going to get, but I'm hoping I'm going to see you back in a wingless this season. Yeah.
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 Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. 100%. It's going to be a bit of a different deal. We're going to be back in the KMR 97.
Yep.
Not because anything went wrong with us and John. Like, we're still best of mates, and we're going to go racing together and all that sort of thing. But we just thought, why not? We're having so much fun racing wingless at the moment, and like I said earlier, the sprint cars are not getting cheaper to run. So, you know, and it's always fun when you can go out and be competitive. You know, when you go out in a 410 and you get your ass handed to you, it's not as much fun, especially when you're spending the money that you got to spend to run them. So we thought, let's build our own car, and John and Paul had a wingless chassis there that they weren't using. It was sort of surplus to their needs, and they got a couple of new Triple X's, so they had an Eagle chassis there that Dad and I sort of spoke about and thought this would be a pretty good wingless car. Obviously, the car that I was racing at Lismore for those guys is junk. That's I killed that.
Didn't survive.
The poor thing it'll go and probably get hung up in someone's shed and
at least that cage did its job, man. Like, far out.
Yeah,
wait,
absolutely.
can I ask a question? You can say no, you don't have to answer. Did your Suzuka go off?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. This is the first time it has.
Right.
I've had some crashes with them on, and it hasn't gone off, but yeah, that one did. It rattled my cage a little bit. Probably a lot to do with my seat as well. I mean,
that's where I think it comes from. It's just
the week before, I was sort of like, I want to change this seat.
Really?
Because it wasn't. It's a Kirky that I've had since I first started, don't get me wrong, I've had some major licks in that seat and been fine, and I was after Lismore as well, fine. But I've got a Butler built now with a seat paw and all that sort of thing, and they're just a bit more of a sturdy seat. And I thought I'd like to put this in the wingless, but I thought, it's only Lismore. Surely I'm not going to. Surely it won't be. Yeah. Surely even if I do crash, it won't be a big one, and then that happens. But it is what it is. But yeah, it did go off, so I have to get cleared before I go back to racing. But so. But yeah, back on our car. I mean, we're going to build that Eagle chassis that we've purchased off the Egan's, and put our gear back into it. And we've got plenty of stuff here. I mean, we got front ends and rear ends and all that sort of thing that like I said, we always had the wingless, we just didn't run it, and we got the chassis still there and all that sort of thing. But we just think this Eagle's going to be a good car, and we'll bolt that together and try and put a nice piece on the track, and probably have a bit of a crack at wingless this year. Like I said, last year we only did 5, maybe 7 shows all up.
I think for your part-time exercise, the amount of I don't know, it's not you won't put fear into the competitors, but geez, man, you're just rocking up like half-time, part-time schedule and just putting on some awesome racing. Like it was fantastic to watch. And I'm sitting there thinking, could you imagine if these boys rocked up and actually I know once you're racing you care and you try and all the rest, but if you put 100% into everything from the start, man, good luck.
Thanks for that.
No one's you're gonna outpace it. Like I still that night at Eastern Creek, man, I know Tyson had a good run at Eastern Creek once. I wasn't there, and he pulled away from everyone, and he was fast. But man, I've not seen a wingless faster than what you did that night. When unfortunately it went the way it went, but that thing was just so goddamn fast.
Yeah.
So you just know how to get those things around any track fast. You know what I mean? So it'll be good to see the car back. I can't wait to see the livery. What you're going to have on? Still orange and blue?
I'm not sure yet. We've sort of got a base colour that we're going to go with. It's I'm just going to figure it out from here. We've got to get some panels. We're way behind schedule as per usual. Still waiting on my fabricator over there.
What's he doing?
Together.
Is he on beer 6 or 7? Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's busy building his own cars at the moment. So.
Really?
Wow.
Okay,
not sprint cars, but he's building micros and all that sort of thing now.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, once we get the bar work and whatnot done in that, I'll get that powder coated. And you know yourself, it doesn't take that long to slap a wingless together.
No, once you get rolling.
When you got all the stuff there, so we won't be there to start the season. We won't be at the first round, or maybe not even the second round. We might aim for middle of October or something to come back and maybe kick off our season late October.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, because back in our own car this year, so we might do 10 races, 12 races, and really try and just try and win races. I mean, we're not going to chase any championships or anything like that. We'll try and win some races, and also that wide open series. I'm not contracted personally, but we'll do 4 of the 5 rounds.
Yeah, right. Well, I was going to ask you about that, but all right, let's talk about it. So you didn't get the contract. I'm not sure of the reasons being, but I definitely think if I was a betting man, I thought you would have got one. So you're going to go do. So you're at least going to do some of the rounds.
Yeah.
4 of the 5. Yeah, so what one are you missing? You're going to miss
Toowoomba, the first one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
so Toowoomba. So that's going to give everyone an easy day. And then after that, he's coming for you. Yeah. Right. Okay. That's pretty cool. So have you been to Mildura before?
Never. So yeah, really excited. Everyone I've spoke to,
you're gonna love it, man.
John's been a couple of times, and you guys have obviously been down there. And McCarthy has had a win down there. He's been really good down there. So everyone I've spoke to has had nothing but praise for the joint. So really excited to get to that track, and also excited to, like I said, I can't make it to the first round of that series, but we will be at. Barring anything going wrong, we'll be at the other 4.
Well, that'll be good. So you'll be joining sort of the posse deal that's going to be starting. Bailey Goodwin sort of came out saying he's going to be joining. He's starting the posse, hunting down the guys. So I guess we'll throw you in there too. And now I don't like the chances of these contracted boys. But anyway, good luck to everyone. Hope you have fun. But I just hope they bring those flamethrowers to Mildura from Lismore, because that shit was that not awesome or what?
Yeah. I've always had nothing but praise for Lismore and their promoters. They're they're fantastic people. Kim and Mick Sauer do a fantastic job up there. And a lot of people were sceptical before going to Lismore for that Australian title.
Yep.
I remember speaking to people at Eastern Creek and around the traps about the upcoming Aussie title, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know how it's going to be, and it's Lismore, it might not race real well." And I was certain that they were going to put on a good show, and they didn't get everything go their way.
What they did was amazing.
And they put so much effort into that weekend, and I had a good chat to Mick after the event, and he was like, "Oh, time to have a beer. It's been a big weekend," and they worked so hard.
Yeah.
Him and Kim worked so hard to make the event what it was, and some of the things that they did that weekend with the army theme and Todd in the truck and it was really cool. So I think they've sort of set the benchmark, that's for sure.
Yep.
Like a lot of people have said, and hopefully that all the tracks coming up, including Mildura, look at that and go, righto, let's try and top it. And it's only good for our sport, and hopefully they all jump on the bandwagon of trying to make it as good as it can be.
Yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to it. Hopefully they get flamethrowers. I just like anything with fire. I believe before all the rounds of the WOW Series in your home state, you're going to have a car on display. So we're going to do some promotional stuff, which is going to be pretty cool. That's always fun to do, get your name out there, get the cars out there. But one thing I've noticed about you too is you're starting to become very diverse. You're not only a very good, successful race car driver, but you also dabbled, after the Australian title, you dabbled lightly into your commentary work at the Chile Nationals. How was that sitting back on that side of the fence, talking about what was going on? I actually watched that, and can I say I thought, oh, here we go. What's Kyle got to do here? I actually found you to be quite good about it. Like you explain things pretty well. Obviously, you know what you're talking about. You've been in that same situation. You could offer a sort of point of view that other people who haven't raced can't. You enjoyed it. You sort of took to it pretty well too, man. Like I thought you were great.
Thanks, mate.
We're going to see you on Claverview shortly as well, or what?
Hopefully, I'm in a race car.
Yeah, that's better. There you go.
Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I'd rather be in a car and be racing, but it was something different. We after the Australian title, it was actually while we were still in Lismore that I don't even know how the chat came up. But,
I was going to say, how'd it come up?
Someone said, "Oh, you should get on the mic at the Chile Nationals," and I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's do it." Sort of just sort of brushed it off, and then all of a sudden there were a few messages flying around, and then I got up to Lismore for the Chile Nationals, and all of a sudden I spoke to the actual commentator there, Josh, and he was keen on it, and he just pretty much had to convince Mick and Kim Sauer, and I actually think someone called in sick from memory. I think it was Josh.
Really?
And I think the original plan was for me to back Josh up, and then Josh had COVID or something, so it was like, oh, here's the mic, have fun.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, but no, it was something different, mate. I was already going up there. I was going up to help Luke, and I only commentated the wingless because realistically, that's what I know, and at the same time, I was there to help some people. So I just asked if that was okay, and they were fine with that. And yeah, it was something different. Hey, it was cool to be able to watch racing from the infield.
Yep.
I've definitely done that before, but to be able to watch a whole set of heats and try and offer, like you said, a little bit of a driver's perspective, maybe. Sort of went and looking at the track and sort of trying to explain what's happening and that sort of thing. I'm no Wade Ornger or anything like that, but I just tried to offer a bit of a different perspective, and yeah, it was something fun. They were happy with what I did, and yeah, I had a ball doing it. So yeah, big thanks to Mick and Kim for giving me that opportunity. It was cool.
Yeah, so not only were you commentating this season, but I also noticed you took up another role of being a model. I think you've come across everyone's news feeds lately wearing the wide open clothing. You look pretty good with that long sleeve shirt, may I say, like the one from the back. And then I've been told about you and your golf swing. So you've been getting up to a fair bit off the racetrack this season, which has been probably a good thing for you. Oh, that look he just gave to Luke, jeez. Yeah. Oh, Luke, you're going to be wearing it later.
There's not much I don't say yes to. If someone says you want to do this, let's go.
I think it's the other way around. There's not many things you don't say no to. It's always a yes.
Yeah. So
no, look, I think it's great. Like I think it's as I said before, there was like go back a couple of years. Yeah, I used to watch you race and all the rest, but like over the last few years, sort of you've opened up a lot more. You've become obviously a lot more comfortable with what you're doing and all the rest, and it's really good to see. So I'm hoping people out there who watch this, who know you and see you at the track, they go, you know what, he's a pretty approachable guy, by the way. Like he's awesome, dude. And at the end of the race, like man, don't run away. Those yellow hatters are going to be partying, so go join them. But
Anyone
yeah.
that wants to join in is welcome, mate. That's
There
for
you
sure.
go. Look at that. And they've even got an apprenticeship program if you want to try and become a yellow hatter. I actually saw that. I did see that the other week when, oh, mate, was it Matty Simmons?
What was that?
Who got the yellow hat? You had a bit of a...
Oh, Matt Simpson. Yeah.
Simpson, sorry. Yeah, so he got his hat. And I thought that was well done. Well done to your marketing team for organising that. Just a few more questions before you go. Number one would be, what's your favourite track?
I had a little bit of a think about this. There's a couple. I mean, Parramatta's always going to be one. Now that it's gone, makes it more that way. But I think for current tracks for wingless racing, I'd have to say Murray Bridge.
Murray Bridge.
Bit of a rogue one, but every time I've been there, the racing's just been phenomenal. And it's one of the few tracks at the moment, not few tracks, but one of the tracks that consistently get wingless on the fence. And yeah, I'll watch a club show from there, and guys like Furler and Jack McCarthy and those blokes are up just banging the concrete. And I personally, that's what I love to do. I'm always up for running the bottom and all that sort of thing too. But if a race can be on the fence, it's always going to be interesting and always a lot of fun. So yeah, Murray Bridge is probably the top one. There's a lot that are close. But I'd have to say Murray Bridge would be number one for me at the moment.
Yeah, nice. Okay. What would you put as your favourite sort of after racing track? So after racing in the pits, partying with your little boombox, sort of the atmosphere after a racetrack, after racing for a night. Which track puts on the atmosphere?
Same thing. There's a couple, but I'd probably say Lismore.
Lismore. They've got a lot of votes. Okay. Yep.
I reckon. Apart from it being cold all year round, it's I don't know. Maybe it's just since we've, like you said, done the yellow hat thing and carried on a little bit. We've had so many great nights up there. Like the original Chile Nationals we had up there. We partied and had a great weekend, and then the Aussie title, everyone was having a good time, and then the Chile Nationals just gone, like we spoke about. Everyone was having a good time. Lismore's great. And I think the fact that the promoters accommodate their people so well is what makes it probably my favourite. There's not many tracks that you'll go to where the two people that are running the track come down and say, "Hey, let's have a beer after the race." Yeah,
I hear that. I hear that so much, and it's so good that they're doing that. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I'm going to say, any place where you got the yellow hatters, you're going to have a great night. Like, you are going to have a great night. And I think it's great what you guys have done too, because if anything, it's sort of just, it made everyone come out of their shell a little bit more. Like, I've sort of spoken to some people that throughout the course of my years being around here, you sort of acknowledge them at the track, but that's as far as you go. You don't go and engage in conversation because they're heavily deep with what they're doing with their car. But then, like, we get talking like this, and I'm thinking, man, these people are just like me, like very similar interests. And you find out it's everyone's there, but it's just that during the racing, we're focused on racing. That's it. So no, that's cool, man. A few more questions. What's your career highlight? I think I know it, but just in case.
Probably my biggest rollover. No, I'm only joking.
Which one would that be? Which one would that be?
Good question. Probably biggest rollover would probably have to be the one at Parramatta. I went from the middle of turn 3 and nearly ended up in the canteen. So that was a good one. But no, in all seriousness, obviously my Australian title is my biggest highlight. And I've been lucky enough to have some really good race wins, and I've got a fair few highlights that I'm really proud of. But if I had to single out one, obviously it's going to be picking up the Oz one. And like I said earlier, it'll be something I won't forget for a long time. And something I cherish forever.
No, that's good. That's good. One thing I've spoken to a lot of other drivers about is when it's sort of a thing that's gone away. So when we get wins and stuff, so when you got your win at the Australian title, you go into victory lane, you park it there. you get out. We sort of lost the whole thing where your crew used to run out there. Like at the 50 lapper, for example, we spoke about your dad. Like, man, he was out there. Like, good luck trying
Yeah.
to stop him. You know what I mean? Like, he was going.
Yeah.
I reckon he could have ran the 100-meter faster than Usain Bolt, but he was there, right? He was so proud of his punch, and rightly so. But we've sort of lost that in a sense. Do you think that's something that we should be looking at bringing back? I'm sort of hoping at this WoW series we bring that back, allow the crew out there.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I agree. I think we have lost it a bit. Obviously, the Australian title, Dad was allowed out, which was massive. If he wasn't there, obviously it would have been
crickets,
a little bit deflating. But there's actually a video of Dad nearly tackling me off the top of the car.
Really?
But yeah,
I've got to hunt that down now. I want to see that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we have lost it a little bit. But the good thing about this series, like you speak about, is we're going to tracks that I think, from what I know, a lot of them accommodate that. For instance, I know Toowoomba, Ryan Harris runs a great operation up there, and I'm pretty sure that a big race like that, if it gets brought up at drivers' briefing and say, hey, whoever wins, like, can we open the gate once the cars are off the track and let them out there? I'm sure he'd be happy to accommodate as long as that works with their scheduling and that sort of thing. And I think, you know, if that's what the drivers want, and I think, like you said, it's a good thing. If we bring these things up at drivers' briefing, I don't think, unless there's a legitimate reason that the track can't do it, whether that be a insurance thing or whatever it might be, unless there's a legitimate reason like that, I don't think there's going to be a track that goes, nah, we're just not doing it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's what the drivers want, which I think that would be a thing that, you know, most drivers would want if they win a race. Yeah, I think if we bring it up at drivers' briefings or even previous to the meeting, I think tracks will be quite happy to accommodate. If that's the collective thought between all the drivers.
Yeah, nice. No, I just think it's something that trophies, as you know, they sit up there on the shelf and they look good. But pictures, like you can capture like your mum, your sister, your dad there as well, the whole family around the car, and you celebrating your big number one. But no, mate, look, hey, thanks very much for joining me. What I'd like to do is give everyone an opportunity when they come on the show just to thank the partners who helped them up and down the highway to go racing. Again, no exception to you. So please, floors to you. Who would you like to thank?
First off, obviously, I've got to thank Dad. I wouldn't have even started racing if it wasn't for him. So yeah, obviously, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't race go-karts, wouldn't have raced wingless, all that sort of thing. So it's been me and him since day one, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So big thanks to him. It's awesome to be able to go just racing, me and him, and achieve things together. So obviously him number one. I've got a few people that back me. Obviously Luke's one of them. LS Fabrication. He fixes all the things I break and backs me to the hills as well. So big thanks to him for what he does for me. Obviously my family. The rest of my family, I mean, mum and my sister and my newborn niece. I guess I should thank her.
Congratulations. I didn't know, so there you go. Well done to Taylor.
Shout out as well. So,
yeah, Luke.
So obviously those guys. And then I've got to thank Wide Open Clothing. They're a sponsor of mine as well. So big thanks to Dan and Ash. They're a major help to me, as well as 16 Industries. They're both their companies. So Caxton Hat Racing, should probably give them a shout out.
Nice.
But yeah, apart from that, mate, it's obviously John and Paul for what they've done for me over the last couple of seasons. Like I said to you earlier, we're going to be in our own car this year, and I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to being in our own car. But for what they did for me while I drove for them, and even when I didn't drive for them, what they've done for me, can't thank them enough for the opportunities they've given me, and really look forward to going back racing and go and race with those guys and all good mates that we've got that we've made over our seasons of racing. And to all those people that helped me out, mate, like I said, wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And appreciate everyone who's helped you, because it's been awesome watching you, man. And I look forward to seeing you more. Unfortunately, we've got to race against you, but it is what it is. But no, thanks very much for giving me the time to have a chat. And what I want to do when this WoW series gets going, I'll try and grab you one night to have a bit of a chat at the track and try and see if we can have a quick word with you to see how you're dominating the field. It's going to be interesting because, I mean, we've got Blake Walsh coming in there, and that bloke's already started the season off with like 2 wins, 15 wins last season. So, but, he hasn't seen you yet, so that's good. You'll be good. So,
by no means do I think I'm going to rock up to those races and smoke everyone.
Come now, just say you will. Like, look,
it's going to be like an Australian title every night. So
that's it, hey. It's literally 5 Australian titles
Yeah.
And in the middle of that, we've got to have another. We've got to have the Australian title. I'm thinking, man.
Yeah. No, it's going to be awesome. I think that series is the best thing that's happened to Wingless and probably Speedway in a while.
Yep.
It's something that sprint cars are lacking at the moment with no World Series or no National Series, and for the guys involved like Batesy and Daniel Goldoni and everyone else that's involved in making that happen, can't commend those guys enough because I think Wingless needed it, and like you said earlier, Wingless is in a really good spot, and it's only going to get better with what they're doing at the moment. And yeah, it'll be really good to be a part of it. Although I'm not going to be contracted and I won't be at every round. What the parts I am a part of, I'm really excited to get out there and race those top-notch guys.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good paydays for you. So yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean, you still get paid. You still get the pay money, the prize money, even if you don't not contract, which I think is fantastic. So yeah, no, man, I look forward to it. But thank you very much for joining me tonight. For everyone else, thanks very much for tuning in. Right there, Kyle Mock, N97. Watch out for him. He's coming back this year, and he'll be coming back with a vengeance. So we look forward to seeing what car he's got. And yeah, thanks very much. To everyone else, tune in to the next episode. But yeah, thanks very much for everyone's time. Take care.